want to express my deepest gratitude to Andrea Thomas, whose vision, perseverance are the heartbeat of this movement. Andrea, I've seen you work around the clock, rallying families, negotiating with elected officials, and crafting the strategy that saved so many lives. I knew I couldn't continue this fight alone, and I couldn't think of a more capable leader to guide our next chapter.
Yep.
So, it is with immense pride that I announce Andrea Thomas as the Chief Executive Officer of our newly formed nonprofit, Armour Families.
Yeah.
Armour Families is the merger of Facing Fentanyl and Preclivity, the nonprofit I started after my son Ethan died from fentanyl poisoning. Preclivity has been successful in raising awareness through many media appearances and the launch of Joanna's Vision, a video game that we launched right here at this event last year. Preclivity also has had legislative wins in the form of mandatory placement of naloxone in public places. And alongside us is also our third co-founder, Collin Gage, the CEO of Armour Sciences, whose pioneering immunotherapy research aims to prevent drug poisoning and overdose. Collin, thank you for your collaboration and for bringing scientific innovation to our shared mission. Together, backed by a powerful board of directors, we are forging a united front. So you may wonder, why did we choose the name Armour Families? First, we want our families to be armored, protected from the ravages of addiction and the heartbreak of overdose and poisonings. Second, we intend to arm our families with awareness, knowledge, naloxone, support, and every tool necessary to combat this scourge. The name Armour Families embodies both defense and also empowerment. Today, as we unveil this new banner, we renew our commitment to shield our loved ones, to share the truth about fentanyl and other deadly synthetic drugs, and to build a future where no family suffers the loss of a child, a sibling, a parent, or a friend to this crisis. So please join us. Amplify our message, advocate for the policies we need, support our programs, donate your time, your voice, and your expertise. Together, we will accelerate progress, save more lives, and bring hope to every community. Thank you for your unwavering dedication. Thank you for believing in our unified mission. And thank you for standing with Armour Families as we armor the world against the deadliest threat of our time. Let's get to work.
Every day, families across America are losing loved ones to fentanyl. It is the #1 cause of death for people ages 18 to 45. This crisis is devastating communities in every state, and the time to act is now. Out of that urgency came a powerful new force for change, Armour Families, an alliance of advocates, scientists, and parents who know this crisis firsthand and who are committed to saving lives and protecting families. What makes Armour Families so unique is its approach, bringing together science, research, and technology with the lived experience of families on the front lines. This combination gives us real tools, real data, and real hope that we can finally turn the tide on this epidemic. Today, on Play It Forward, we continue that conversation. And with that powerful reminder from Times Square, welcome to Play It Forward. I'm Allison Van Cott-McEntee, live from WUSB at Stony Brook University. Happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Today's show is especially meaningful as we're joined by 3 remarkable leaders who are each bringing their own experience, passion, and expertise to this fight. Together, they've launched Armour Families, an alliance uniting families, advocates, and science to confront the fentanyl crisis head-on. Kamal Bherwani, a New York-based advocate who tragically lost his son Ethan to a fentanyl poisoning in 2021. Kamal has turned his grief into action, creating prevention tools like the video game Joanna's Vigil, and most recently standing in Times Square to announce the launch of Armour Families. Andrea Thomas, a Colorado mother and advocate who lost her daughter Ashley to fentanyl poisoning in 2018. She is the founder of the Voices for Awareness Foundation and is a national initiative facing fentanyl, which together elevates awareness and advocacy nationwide. She now brings her leadership to Armour Families. And Collin Gage, co-founder of Armour Families and CEO and co-founder of Armour Sciences. Collin brings deep expertise in building and investing in the mental health space while taking a science-driven approach to prevention, education, and support for families across America. Together, they lead Armour Families, an alliance dedicated to saving lives and protecting families. And I'd also like to recognize a special person in the studio with us today, actually an old friend of mine and wonderful award-winning director and filmmaker, Michael Rosado Bennett. He is the writer, director, and producer behind the Sundance-winning film Alive Inside, and he's with us today, filming this episode for a documentary. His work is about using the power of storytelling to break stigma and inspire action. So thank you, Michael, for being here with us. Kamal, Andrea, Collin, thank you very much for being here. And super big congratulations to the launch and the new beginning of Armour Families. I'd love to have each of you introduce yourselves for our listeners and share a little bit about your role in Armour Families. Will we start with you, Kamal? And by the way, Kamal, this is what, your third or fourth time
appearance
on the show. So thank you again for coming back, and great to see you, and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you, Allison. It is my third appearance on this show, and this is our first appearance together ever. As part of an interview around Armour Families. So that says a lot that we trusted you.
It's an incredible honor, so thank you.
You'd run a great show, and we love everything you do. So thank you for your support of our mission.
Thank you.
Look, my background is in technology and sitting on boards, but the most important thing I'm doing today is I'm the chairman of Armour Families. I was the CEO and founder of Preclivity, and I moved into the chairman role because I could think of no one better than Andrea to run this new mission forward. And the three of us are kind of co-founders of Armour Families today. So the most important thing I do these days is, work with Armour Families and be the best I can as a father. Those are my two big priorities.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other things that come after.
That's wonderful. Thank you for being with us, Kamal. And Andrea, I had the wonderful pleasure to meet Andrea in Times Square. You put that whole event together. Tell us about your role in Armour Families and a little about yourself.
Well, first I have to tell you thank you. I would never think that the three of us would be sitting together today, and so this is very special for me and for us to be here with you. So thank you.
Special for me too. Thank you.
So You can never imagine being in a space like this.
No.
You just can't. And the magnitude of loss and hope and faith for what we're working towards is incredible. The feeling is incredible to have teamed with such powerful people, and we're all so different. Yeah. It's an eclectic group of people, but all so much the same.
Yeah.
And the work that we've done before has certainly created solutions. I know we've saved lives, but the impossible, or what seemed impossible before, that we can make possible now, is so heartwarming. It's just really exciting to forge this new path. So I'm looking forward to the future.
I'm so excited for you guys as well. Thank you so much, Andrea. And Collin Gage, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Tell us about yourself and your role in Armour Families.
Yeah, no, I think Andrea and Kamal said it best. I mean, we're very different individuals, different backgrounds, different stories, but I think that's the theme of what we're doing here, is unifying and coming together at a time, I think, when it's needed most. But my background is mixed. I run a company day to day called Armour Sciences. I'm a co-founder and CEO over there. But Armour Families is equally as exciting, if not more exciting to me, because I have the opportunity to work with these two and touch different parts of the industry and really of going about solving the crisis than I would normally kind of day to day. So in my role, I view myself as kind of hopefully bringing some interesting new science and innovation to Armour Sciences and what we can see become possible here.
This is amazing because, at least for me, I've interviewed many people with nonprofits and, officials and law enforcement across the board. But I've never seen an organization where you're going to bring science into it and important data. So I think it's amazing. Congratulations. So thank you all for sharing your stories. To start us off, what do you each hope people understand most about the fentanyl crisis right now? And why was it so important to come together and launch Armour Families at this moment?
So many people I talk to ask me, what is Armour about, right? Mm-hmm. And I tell them exactly what we've just said, exactly what your intro said, science, data, and bringing families together for a better future, right? Mm-hmm. And to save lives. And they still don't get this yet. And I don't understand, because these are the pieces that are lacking. They're the pieces that we have been waiting for.
The proof,
that's right. And for bigger solutions, we've put awareness out. We've shared prevention across America and outside. And we see where the gaps are. So to have a team like this, where we can really bring science in, data in, and merge it with the people that need it the most, right? It's more of a behind the scenes movement right now, right? And this is everything that we've been lacking, and here we are. The three of us are here together to bring in those missing pieces, and it's like forging this new frontier, right? It's very exciting, and I think that when these first pieces of science come out and this innovation, right, everybody is going to understand. They're going to come to the table with us, and I think everybody will want to join a movement like this soon.
I hope so, because it is uniquely different. And, I think Collin could inform and tell our listeners about some of the things you all hope to do. But I'm just so amazed at your future, and I really do think people are going to jump on board. And what was it like to give that announcement in Times Square and then see it up on the billboards?
It was amazing. It was amazing to watch. It's like giving birth to a child. Right? It's like we were planning this for months. Yeah. We kind of connected in different ways, the three of us, and we just came to the realization that we were three uncoordinated fingers that just won't have as much impact as we were part of a fist, right? Yeah. That's the overused example is the five fingers, make a powerful fist if they're coordinated. And we needed to coordinate those actions because these are three important pieces of the puzzle. The power of the people, the coalition that Andrea has built, the science and innovation that Collin brings to the table, which is very exciting. We should talk more about how that fits in. And then the work Preclivity has done on technology and data and legislative change, as well as, launching a video game. Those three pieces were very powerful. And to have that come together at Times Square and launch it and get everyone excited about it was a pretty big deal for me.
Very proud moment. Yeah. And there's no doubt Ethan is looking down and very proud of what you're doing. And Ashley as well.
When we were standing there that day, there's so much going on, right? And so much preparation in that moment. And I took some of it in, and I really just took it in right now when you played your intro. Because we have a settled moment, and we're finally together, and, we can share this with the public.
And you're listening to it together. Yeah. Adding music to anything adds another.
That was powerful.
Yeah. It makes it more. Yeah. There's something. By the way, I want to add. Kamal requested "Wish You Were Here" for my little background intro.
I was wondering who chose "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd on this Kamal jam.
Quite poignant.
If you've ever ridden in a plane with him, there's like a variation of rock that you go through. You go through all like the different decades of rock as you're ascending into the sky. So makes sense.
That's great. And you're going to have to surprise us with an ending song for today. But but let's talk more about what happened in Times Square and why that event was so important. I have to say that event compared to last year, it was even more powerful, and the people that spoke.
I agree. You know, we started that event as a 20-minute press conference for our team. It was just going to be us standing there with the press. And we were so surprised and honored that families came out. They started coming out from different states and joining us that first time. And then after that first event, we started receiving notification texts, all kinds of things that we're going to be there next year. All these other people started chiming in. And so we grew it a little bit more. And sure enough, you know, and now we get to this year where we have so many families there, and we make the day much larger than that 20-minute press conference that we originally started.
Oh, it was longer than 20 minutes.
Yes, and then now to be able to launch Armour there, I can't even imagine what next year will be like. We're already starting, and to have the support now of a new team, right? And a voice in different spaces, something we've been searching for so long, right? And, you know, I started this journey not knowing anything about fentanyl. I know my space with fentanyl and with the families and prevention and awareness. And to bring all of these pieces together, it's phenomenal. It's unbelievable to me right now that we're sitting here even having this conversation. You know, to be able to go to this new space, to what we really need, what's needed the most out there.
I can relate because, you know, I have an organization myself, and it's very hard, especially this subject. You want to believe that people are listening and people are paying attention to what you're saying, and but to have this and what you have created and bringing your expertise together, that is the critical part of it, I believe. It
is. And, you know, we've been saying from the beginning, this is a different type of drug. This isn't old drugs that we're talking about, right? And now we have fentanyl and so much more, right? The emerging drugs. And to think that we had this small space to work in, really. But so many of us were learning. We didn't know what this was going to bring us. And as it evolves, we have to evolve. And now we have the opportunity to address this. And it's taken us a long time to get here. But thank God we're here.
Thank God we're here.
Yes. Yeah. And now we can reach out, and we can look at new platforms and new solutions, and speaking with Kamal and learning about data and how simply some of these things can come together from the people that know how, you know, where to source this, and Collin about innovation and, you know, the possibilities of things we may have been missing all of this time that could grow and save lives is incredible to me. I'm just so grateful.
I am grateful for you guys. And Kamal, going from Preclivity to Armour Families, how has that vision evolved?
Yeah, the vision was the fact that I could no longer make more progress by myself, and that we needed to bring a broader coalition together. And we started with the three of us, getting a new board in place and adding some board members, and really thinking through what are the ideas, right? We have these 4 pillars. And it starts with supply. Right? Why do the numbers of people that die of fentanyl poisoning or overdose still die, and the numbers are still very high? Although there's a downward trend, it still outranks COVID by a factor of 2 to 1 in 2020 when COVID was like at a peak, and it's still like 4 to 1, 5 to 1 now because COVID numbers have come down and fentanyl numbers have continued to climb. So how can we not take this seriously? And just like we took an end-to-end holistic approach with COVID, we need to take an end-to-end holistic approach if we're going to squash this out.
Absolutely.
Right? So we start with supply, we move to awareness, we move to harm prevention and reduction, where a lot of the science and innovation that Collin brings to the table comes into play, and we go to criminal justice, right? Because when you have this tragedy happen to you, you have to do something. It's in your bottom, in the pit of your stomach. You just feel like you must do something about this. Otherwise, you just have accepted. You're resigned to the fact that people are going to die. And none of us, and many other parents who've been affected by the tragedy, none of us want to accept that. So we all want to do something. The question is, can we orchestrate and do something together and speak with one voice? And if we can have that power of one voice and the power of the people together, along with great solutions legislatively, science, technology, data, we think that's going to deal with the problem in a much more effective way.
I can't agree with you more, because legislatively, scientifically, the data, those things are very important. And I think a lot of people have good intentions that are these grassroots nonprofits that actually most often grow out of losing someone you love. And like you said, you don't, I didn't know how to run a nonprofit. I
just started.
You just learn as you go along, and it is very hard as one person.
Yeah.
But I think bringing particularly the science is going to be a game changer for you guys. And actually, that brings me to Collin. I was so impressed with you on that Zoom call, with your background and even your ideas. You just thinking outside of the box kind of guy immediately to me.
Were you referring to my background noise of the 2-year-old screaming? There was that going on. But yeah, no, thank you. I think Andrea said it best. And anytime the United States wins at anything here, it's all about, it starts with unification. It's about doing something together.
Yeah.
When I first came to this space about 2 years ago, and really started to get actively engaged with the people in the industry, or I guess, in this crisis, where I quickly discovered that there were a lot of, like you said, grassroots organizations, but operating in a very bifurcated way. That everyone seemed compartmentalized and in their own silo. And when I started to get to know Kamal and Andrea, it became really clear that they were, I think, two of the most organized individuals in the entire space. And if we were able to unify and come together, we would be able to make a much more significant impact than we would be by ourselves. And it's interesting. I mean, you brought up people not understanding what Armour Families is, or not seeing it in the industry that I come from. Previously, and kind of the investment industry. That's what we focus on the most. Is when you can't see something, that means that there's probably a problem there. There's probably something that others aren't seeing that you should go and solve. And right now, it's just become very clear. When I talk to just the general population out there, that some people aren't even aware that there is a fentanyl crisis, which is hard to imagine, given that it's literally, like you said at the beginning, the number one killer of U.S. adults aged 18 to 45. This is something we lost 22 high school age students to in 2022. I don't know what the latest data is, but it's a significant problem, and to not know that it exists is mind-blowing to me. So my minor part here is to shed light on all of the amazingly smart people out there who do know that this problem exists, at universities and hospitals, research centers in the United States and abroad, who are taking several different angles to this, and they're applying really interesting AI applications to deconstructing trafficking networks and trafficking networks that exist on social media and the dark web. There's obviously the medical science that I'm involved with, but there's so many different angles that you can take here. And at least my part in this, and what I was lacking, was Andrea's experience with the families, first and foremost, and Kamal's experience from an organizational and inspirational and kind of a more unified vision to how to get this done. So I forget what your original question was, went on a bit of a tangent, but kind of hitting it on all fronts. And basically what I'm trying to get at to wrap this up is, overall, I hope we can get with Armour Families more people to focus on the inspiration here at the end of the day, because I'm almost 100% positive, at least I know for the people that I've lost, they would not want us to focus on grief and gloom. They would want us to focus on, okay, how can you use our lives as inspiration to save other lives? And I think that's what we have the opportunity to do here now. I
believe that you are already achieving that, because for our listeners, I'm going to tell you right now, go check out armourfamilies.org, and it's ARMOUR families, FAMILIES.org. And if you scroll to the bottom, you're going to see a video. It's a vigil, and it was the Black poster project that was held at St. Patrick's Cathedral on National Fentanyl Awareness and Prevention Day. And it is, and it's on my our Instagram, but it is a beautiful PSA that was put together. And you're right, Collin. We don't want to just focus on the grief and, bury our head in the sands. But seeing that PSA, I do hope it shakes people.
Powerful, yeah.
And I really think that, I just hope that, you're not the one saying, not my kid, or I hope it doesn't happen to me. But what do you have to say about that, Kamal?
Yeah, look, it's the PSA was very touching, and it does demonstrate the scale of this crisis. And you have to you can't manage what you can't measure. And that's why we keep going back to data. The very simple data point is how many people die. And we know it's the number one killer for 18 to 45. It's the number one killer for teenagers as well. But then you look beyond that and you think about, well, what about the $55 billion that are sitting in the coffers of the states as part of opioid restitution funds? What is the relationship between investments of those dollars across the U.S. to the reduction of these debts? And no one has an answer.
It's not good.
You say, what's the real-time spread of these drugs? What about the new synthetic drugs? Where do they appear? What neighborhoods? How are they spreading? Because they spread like a disease. I say that over and over and over again. We've invested so much in the U.S. on epidemiology and syndromic surveillance and all these tools to prevent unnecessary deaths related to public health. Well, this is a public health epidemic. And we've devoted a lot of scattered money and random kind of investments, but it's not cohesive. And you can't draw a correlation line between those investments and the trend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's a problem. How can you manage this if you cannot draw that line?
It is very frustrating. I've been following the stories about the opioid settlement money not being dispersed and just
or misused.
Yes.
Right. Or spent on one part of the problem, which is setting up, safe sites for injections and consumption of drugs, which is for, I would say, people who have hardcore substance use disorder. But a lot of people who are dying are innocently dying, right? Yeah. We are accidental advocates because in our case, we all know someone very close to us who passed away accidentally.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? So why don't we even know what's the difference between poisonings and overdoses? How come we don't have data on that? Everything lumps together in overdose. That's where the stigma comes from. And so getting the layers of that data and making sense of it and linking it to other data to being able to demonstrate a cause and effect is a big part of the data story.
Yeah.
And bringing in, the magnitude of how many there are, because we become complacent. And I think every day, where did the respect for human life go? Like, why are we losing so many people and the action isn't at the top of the stage, right? Like, why aren't we talking about this even stronger? Of course, we hear more now. We've made a lot of progress, but there's so far to go. And when I listen to Kamal and I listen to Collin, and they bring in all of those missing pieces of what I know, right? Because I know the families and I know fentanyl. But all of those missing pieces that we're looking for, we can now begin to work solutions for and understand where is this even going to go. We haven't even looked at that yet. How many people, this rolling snowball effect, right, mm-hmm. of families, and what the next 10 years look like with the people that we've lost, the innovation that we've lost from the people that we've lost, right, where our country ends in 10 years from all that we've lost and all who have suffered through this. And so I think about the families and standing there in Times Square. When I look at them, it isn't facing fentanyl. It isn't one group or another. It was all of us that came together in a moment in history where so many people were dying. We're losing them still continually today. And what we can do to make a better future. And that's where I find us right now in this space.
Where do you see Armour Families in a year from now?
Yeah.
We just talked about that yesterday.
Yeah,
so
we did.
Should have a good answer to you.
We did.
Okay.
Look, we see this. I said 3 fingers that are coordinated, and I said 5 fingers make a fist. Well, this hand, if Armour Families, has unlimited fingers, and we want more fingers to join our movement because we start with 3, and then we want to get as many people as we can under the umbrella to speak with that common voice, to agree because this is an insidious problem, and all of the solutions require a balance. Right, we're in a democracy. You just can't say top down, I'm going to give anyone who distributes fentanyl the death penalty. That's not going to work in this country, right? It'll be very effective, but it'll also have some negative consequences. So you got to find a balance in all these solutions. So we're trying to thread the needle to walk that tightrope and say these are the practical solutions that we can get both sides of the aisle aligned to, because we're not partisan. We are bipartisan. And as an example, when Senate Bill 1099 got passed in Maryland, it was unanimous by both sides.
That's great.
Right? And the governor signed into law. So the House and the Senate unanimously voted it in a bipartisan way, and then the governor signed it. So that's an example of common sense, very common sense legislation that neither side is going to object to. Because no one's going to say, yeah, we want to see more fentanyl deaths. It's not about whether we want the deaths to come down. It's about the how. How do we get them to come down?
Yes.
So we want to find the right common sense pieces, get a coalition of support behind us, and then get those executed. So in a year, we hope to take the Senate Bill 1099 and spread it to other places. We hope to save more lives through awareness, using Joanna's vision and all of the PSAs we're going to end up doing and distributing. Hopefully, Collin and his immunotherapy solution, which is a medical solution to prevent deaths. Rather than naloxone, which is after the fact when you've already overdosed or been poisoned.
Yes.
This is preventing that. So hopefully that is matured and gone further, and we can integrate that messaging into our work. Maybe we'll get further ahead on criminal justice to making sure that people who kill others face the right penalties as a general deterrent, not as a revenge tactic, but as a general deterrent for others to make sure they understand what they're distributing.
Yeah.
Because it might cause a death and they will be held accountable.
Wow.
Right.
And we have, this is a team of very open-minded people. We are working a crisis that is bipartisan. We can't just pick one way. We can't look at the old standards for things. We're open-minded. You have to be open-minded to the possibilities. This is a new space. I mean, we've been in it. We were looking at 10 years of time now, unfortunately, of this fentanyl crisis, but we are still in new territory because there's so much unknown. And having 3 people that are open-minded and bringing more in that can think out of that box is very important to me, because we don't have any time to spare here.
Yeah.
And there is no, just like Kamal said, there's not just one way to attack this. We have to come in on all the sides. So it makes, I think, in a year where we'll be even more exciting. And I'm looking forward to we're in our first steps of all of these new possibilities. And I think that we will have grown so far during that time. I'm eager to see where we are. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and I'm learning so much from them. I think we each have something to offer in each other's learning for the future, and it's very exciting to me. And it's great to have Allison hope. This year at the National Day, there was hope. That was our theme, and this is very hopeful for me to know that we're in a space now that we can look at all of these new possibilities. We're going to be able to open doors and use each other's experience to grow another movement, right? Not another movement, but another part of this movement, which is so important.
I see that happening. I mean, I really do. You are so uniquely different compared to any other organization I've seen. Can you talk a little bit about the immunotherapies? Because I think our listeners, and personally, I find it absolutely fascinating. If you can. Me
too, yeah. I can talk all day about it. That's all I do. So so it's really exciting research. This is research that's been around for over 3 decades. The difference between I guess perhaps the shortcomings of the past and what's happened recently is the advancements in I guess the scientific technology that allows us to create an immune response that has actual utility. So what we're working on are immunotherapies. They stimulate the human immune system to actually prevent fentanyl from reaching the brain. So it blocks fentanyl in the bloodstream. So it's not an opioid antagonist or anything like that. It doesn't bind to the receptors in the brain like Narcan does, for instance. But what it does is it prevents kind of of a biological shield of sorts. And it's been shown to be, very robust in animal models. We've studied this. My co-founders have studied this for the last almost 7 years in animals. Wow. Of all different types. It blocks up to 98% of fentanyl from reaching your brain.
Is it only fentanyl?
It's not only fentanyl. Good question. So we're starting with fentanyl, but we're quickly moving out through. We have a defense labs division that's being run by Dr. Nicholas Jacob. He's our chief scientific officer. I have to give him a shout out. We just got lab space in San Diego. And what his focus is going to be on is kind of what Andrea was alluding to earlier, was the evolution of the crisis that we're dealing with today. So he's going to focus on, developing countermeasures against carfentanil, against nitazines that were recently in the news that could be, anywhere from 3 to 40 to I've seen 100 times more potent than fentanyl. So you can imagine you need several administrations of Narcan if that were to, really take hold. And we are seeing it take hold. Carfentanil, which is actually originally an elephant tranquilizer. It's not even meant for human consumption, unlike fentanyl, which is really scary to me. We're also seeing xylazine, which is a non-opioid additive that you're seeing in a lot of like polysubstance use when it comes to fentanyl. Xylazine's again, not an opioid, so Narcan has no effect on that. So you're seeing people, and what it does is it prolongs the effects of fentanyl. So you're seeing people have an overdose or be poisoned by fentanyl. They go into the hospital and there's a re-narcotization effect where they're having another overdose event. And if you administer Narcan, if you guys have ever seen it done, it's often not pleasant, to say the least. It's brings you back pretty quickly. Thank God. I mean, that's a fantastic thing. That's what you want to see. Happy. So to do it again and again and again is not, a positive experience. And not to mention the disruption that it has on the individual and the families around them. I've seen estimates that for every individual that is poisoned or goes through an overdose event, there are 5 to 10 people around them that are severely impacted by that. And you think about it, it's family, it's friends, and the hospital stay for multiple days. So aside from the obvious terror of the impact on life, you're seeing this enormous economic cost. I mean, in the trillions of dollars. It's 2.7 to 4.5 trillion dollars of cost from the opioid crisis alone, as measured by a White House report in 2023. So there's a lot to be done in this space, but what I was getting at is we've blocked anywhere from 92 to 98% of fentanyl from reaching the brain. If it doesn't reach your brain, you don't have the impending overdose effects. You don't have the respiratory depression. But I think of equal importance is we've been shown to block 100% of the addictive behavioral effects. So that's very interesting, because you can actually, for those who are trying to get better, which one of my friends who passed away was actively trying to get better and was on that train to doing so, was back in the gym and eating well and just on that road to recovery. Those people will unfortunately use the drug again and have a relapse.
It is a disease.
That's right. It's a disease. And I learned that early on through my own experiences, unfortunately. But when they do have that relapse, the tolerance is not what it once was. And so that's when, they have these lethal events. And so if we're able to stop the addictive behavioral effects, there's no more euphoria. There's no more craving for the drug. So the odds of them going back for the drug again are slim to none. And so, our approach, and I think what we have the opportunity to do here at Armour Families is to invest in, and donate and fund grants for research that has the opportunity to also prevent this for all of these emerging drug threats and other ways of going out and improving naloxone, et cetera. Because there are scientists around the country who are working on this every day who, for whatever reason, don't receive the same attention that the latest advancements and ChatGPT and AI do, and all these social media platforms. But this is stuff of real utility that can actually save lives, and I think that's some of the most important technology we should be focusing on. So at Armour Families, I think we have the opportunity to do that through Andrea's leadership, and not only go out and find I find it interesting, but some may find it boring science, but not only find this innovation, but be able to tie it back to the families with what Andrea is doing.
Yeah.
She can go out and communicate on behalf of the families, understand the problem, understand where it would make the greatest impact, maybe how to roll it out, how to scale this up, which is invaluable. I just, there's no way for me to replace that, 7 years that you've operated.
It's strange for me to hear him say that because I am sitting here fascinated by what he's saying. But I know one of the first conversations I had with Collin, he began to give me the breakdown, the understanding of the work that he was doing. And he asked me a few questions, and I gave him my answers. And the next time that I spoke with him, he had considered all of those answers. He was really listening. He really heard what I had to say from the family side. And, in coming together with Kamal and Collin, they're so brilliant to me, but
Yes,
their hearts are really here. And because all of us have suffered a loss in this, of people so dear to us that meant everything to us, right? And that's what drives all of us. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what brings us together, right, in this commonality, even though we're so very different. But again, I love hearing this and the possibilities. Yesterday when you were speaking with him, and he said there's so many great ideas out there, and we have to look at them. I remember him explaining that to you and saying all of the, some of those could be the one, and we shouldn't turn them away.
It's revolutionary. I mean, I look at this as this was many, many years ago. I don't know the exact, but like when penicillin was invented, it changed it changed the world.
Yeah. I don't want to get people overly excited. This is still science at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But, even just to level set, even if it's not us, I'm confident in our abilities, of course, and I'm biased, but even if it's not us, at least we've brought attention to the space and hopefully inspired others to go out there and pursue other forms of innovation in the space who have also been impacted by this. I mean, I have to imagine there are millions of brothers and sisters, fathers and mothers, cousins, etc. out there who have been impacted by this, who could point to the individuals, friends that they've lost and say, from this, let's get better. Let's take a different approach here. I mean, I think this is, Kamal said it best, it's like a disease spreading. Diseases are treatable for the most part. So let's try to treat this.
Freaking out about it like they did with COVID. I mean, I saw it on the front page of every single day, how many people are dying. And
COVID, bird flu, anthrax. I mean, not to minimize the situation,
right,
but anthrax, I think 5 people in the United States passed away. And we've lost over 1.2 million people to overdose since 1999. So it's like that's more than both world wars combined.
Yes.
It's the magnitude of the crisis is incomprehensible. It's enormous.
And whatever's to come.
That's right.
I mean, we should not wait this long to see a loss of life like we have with fentanyl. We need to be ahead of the game, and we need to act faster.
Absolutely.
What the U.S. has proven time and time again throughout the course of history is when we focus on a problem, we can solve it.
Yep.
And we did that with COVID, right? We invested in mRNA vaccines. Whether you're anti-vax or pro-vax, what is undeniable is there's a direct relationship between getting vaccinated for COVID and reduction of deaths, especially for the ones that are most vulnerable. So that kind of Operation Warp Speed doesn't exist for the fentanyl crisis. And that is just astounding to me.
I agree.
That we have not been able to fund innovative solutions. And there has been a shift, right? There is a downward trend in deaths. And that's due to a number of reasons. One of them is this administration's focusing on this issue much more than the last one. That's one of them. There are many reasons.
Yes.
But the focus has been on the supply. Right now we've blown up a couple of boats on the coast of Venezuela, and we've focused on some criminal justice with the Halt Fentanyl Act, but we have really not focused on awareness. We really haven't focused on innovation. We really haven't focused on data. Mm-hmm. Those things are still missing pieces.
I can't agree with you more. Do you think the administration declaring the cartels terrorist organizations, do you think that did anything? Or
it opens up the possibilities of what you can do. So if it wasn't for that, it would have been impossible to go and take action against these cartels out of the U.S. Territory and borders. So you needed to do that.
Yes.
All right. So but now I just wish we would take further action against the cartels, further action against the supply coming primarily from China, and the tariffs have been a tool for that. But so far, even though the trend is down, I think it's still horrific numbers. We're still talking about 50,000 and change per year on fentanyl, down from 70,000 and change. We're still talking about big numbers.
Yes, this is definitely not over.
More than suicides,
crash every
murders.
day.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
It's a plane crash. 737 crashing every day. So if you add up, suicides, gun violence, and car accidents, car wrecks, it's still greater than all three combined. So we're still in a very, very precarious position when it comes to this. So more momentum is needed. And the bookends are great. Let's do more on supply. Let's do more on criminal justice. But the middle pieces, where the demand is, and the harm reduction and prevention is.
Prevention.
That is really key.
And I really believe in peer-to-peer advocacy. I think that is something that we should teach parents to teach their kids, or we should just educate teachers more, the schools better, to implement those ideas, because I really believe this could start as young as I work with many young children, 4th or 5th grade.
Yeah.
They're
That's
very,
terrifying.
very capable of talking about these things at that age. And that's when you get them,
Yes, but we're not training them in school.
No.
Right. As I said in the launch of Armour Families, I find it ridiculous that we train kids on how to prevent births, but we don't train them how to prevent deaths. That's ridiculous to me.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we still need to know, that was another lunch that we had for the National Day, was these recovery ready families. We don't know what we don't know, right?
Yes.
I didn't know about fentanyl before I lost my daughter. And so educating families is a very important thing. If this doesn't happen to you, if it hasn't affected you yet, you're not paying attention to it. And now is a time that we all need to know about this,
100%.
right? And we've got to push from that end too. We need education in schools. We need education. Everyone needs this piece to understand what's happening with fentanyl and how to prevent what's here today and what's coming tomorrow, and to put some of these pieces back in our lives that maybe our young people are missing. Yeah.
And normalize the conversation.
Yes.
I mean, I think that is imperative, because, and change the language.
Yes.
They should not be using the word overdose for
Correct.
this problem
Agreed.
at all, because when people think of that word, I just,
Yes.
it's
It's a
not
negative
good.
connotation to it.
Yeah.
Of course, it's not
it's
a
always-
happy word.
Overdose is something that someone does to themselves,
Yeah.
and poisoning is something that someone does to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
Well said.
As usual, best way to put it, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have a few more minutes left. What do you want what can you tell our listeners? What can they do right now? What can we do right now?
Well, I think
there's a lot, but
yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of a rabbit hole, right? Because
Yeah,
there's so much we can do, but first and foremost,
Call to action.
Yes, that's right. Talk to your kids. Don't let a moment pass. We sometimes with young people think we're going to find the right moment and we're going to sit down and there's going to be this conversation, this perfect conversation. Don't waste the moment. It might be too late. You may have waited too long. Talk now about this, have an open conversation, and kind of no barriers in this conversation. Find out what your kids know, explain to them the dangers, and then seek help, right? Because see, a lot of our kids have already tried this and we don't even know. Right? They begin to experiment with other things that then leads them to a space like this, or they may just be unsuspecting. So you've got to talk to them now. You've got to explain to them to never take anything not prescribed to them by a doctor, and why. And we've got people out there in recovery that are sharing their stories. You have families like ours that are living proof of what can happen, and use us as the example. These are real stories that can be very helpful.
And many conversations, not just one, and just make it part of your regular family.
And that reduces the stigma all the way. If you can talk about these things, that adds a lot to the reduction of stigma everywhere, right?
Parents, talk to your kids,
Yes.
please.
At a young age. Because as they get older, we all know they want less and less to do with us, right?
7th grade, you get the eye rolls.
So the earlier you start, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. And age appropriately.
And give them Narcan. not because they might overdose or get poisoned, but because they can save someone else's life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I agree.
The influences of kids are so heavy when it comes to all the other things that they get attacked with: social media, the glamorization, and even making heroes out of our cartel members in series and shows and movies.
Yeah.
Every show, every movie has some illicit drug use and people partying and having fun. And that's not what's happening, right? I didn't have that serious of a discussion with Ethan. I had discussions about how drugs are bad and they can ruin your life. But I never had the discussion of like, dude, something might be in there that you have no idea about and it'll kill you within 15 minutes. Never had that discussion, and I regret not having that discussion.
Yes. I didn't have conversations like that either. My daughter, she's in her 30s now, but I mean, still, it's very scary. But parents really, you have to do this. All parents have to do this, and we need to come together and support each other with it.
That's another big piece. So even if you don't have your own children and you don't have nieces and nephews or grandchildren, whatever it is, everyone can take part in this. Just sharing the message is huge, and that's what we ask every year, right? That's our call to action at the end of National Day. Just share this message and get the information out. And so many people have something to offer, whether it's just the smallest of things, like a post to share, a Facebook post or a social media post to share this message or talk about it. That all helps. Every bit of it helps.
It does.
Yep.
Thank you so much. It goes fast.
It goes fast.
And I am very, very excited to see Armour Families, all the wonderful things that I know you will accomplish. And the other members, the other board members, impressive list of people. Oh, yeah. So everyone needs to check out the website, because I've never seen an organization like this, and I'm very excited for you all. And what an honor it was for me, personally, even to be the first to host you as a team.
The honor is ours.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And
thank you also.
Thank you. And thank you. I sincerely thank everyone who supports our cause and understands how important it is to look out for each other and to empathize with anyone you know dealing with addiction. And as we just said, talk to your kids, talk to the people you love, especially young people. Let's continue to spread awareness about the dangers of illicit fentanyl and promote harm reduction tools like Narcan and fentanyl test strips. Reach out to us via Instagram at sbu.playitforward for more recommendations. And don't forget to check out armourfamilies.org. That's spelled ARMOUR families.org to learn more about their mission, their resources, and how you can get involved in the fight to save lives. So on behalf of Play It Forward, I thank you all for listening. We invite you to join us on Instagram at sbu.playitforward, and our YouTube is the Play It Forward Project. So we hope to hear from you, and for now and always, keep playing it forward. Thank you guys so much. And this is Allison of the Play It Forward Project. Tune into our next show on Friday, October 3rd at 1 p.m. Again, thank you to WUSB, Wizzy, Kamal, Andrea, Collin, Michael Rosado Bennett, Adrian, and thank you all, and congratulations on Armour Families. Our closing song, actually I'm going to surprise Kamal right now, is going to be Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd. You are listening to WUSB Stony Brook 90.1 and 107.3 FM. Be well, everyone, and please look out for one another.